Everyone's 0-0. There are a lot of teams spending big bucks, and there are some teams that haven't done a damn thing. And we're going to talk about it all.
Dadgummit. Yeah, can't wait for that. We're going to also touch on some of the March Madness. Man, it's been crazy this year. Is this going to be the year for some Cinderellas to make some noise? I would argue they already have. Been kind of a rough year for some local teams in the NCAA. But yeah, we're going to touch on that and do a little Titans talk.
Sounds good to me. Well, we're going to start right here with the hometown Tennessee Titans. Let's talk about some of their moves. I'll read them out and get your reactions. What do you think about the running back Jordan Wilkins? This guy has been playing for the Colts 4 years in his career. He has 951 yards and 4 touchdowns. Parker, what does he bring to the Titans?
I don't think he brings anything. I don't think he's a roster come game day when they make the cuts down.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at this move. It didn't really like move the needle for me. I don't know why.
I thought maybe it would be special teams, but then when I was doing research, I didn't really see much in the way of kick or punt returns from Wilkins.
And he played some last year. He was on the team, but he didn't look anything special. I just don't. I think it's just to get a body in there right now for training camp. I just don't think he's going to make the cut.
Let me bounce this idea off of you. What about Leonard Fournette? I mean, this guy likes to play in the Southeast. No?
Too expensive. I just think he's – you got too much invested in, the king, right? You got the king. Too much. So you can't – that's the reason why they had to let Foreman walk. They couldn't afford $2 million for a backup. Like, it just shows you to get a backup. They found Foreman and Hilliard off the couch last year.
Yeah.
Like, you can find somebody for next to nothing that can do the job if something does go down, if you do have a good scheme.
Yeah, and I mean, and everybody can make the comments about the passing game last year and how questionable the play calling was, but man, we still got it done even without Derrick Henry in the running game, and that was promising. And being able to bring one of those pieces that we went out and got, I mean, off the couch, like you said, and Hilliard, being able to bring him back, I think is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, sticking in that running back group.
Yeah,
Blake mentioned
you know what you're going to get from him.
Brought back Hilliard and someone from San Francisco, Mr. Trent Cannon. Just more bodies, Parker?
I don't think so with Hilliard. Hilliard is a.
They trust him.
They do trust him. He's not Derrick Henry's backup. Foreman was his backup. This is like a Darrington Evans type where he's a third down back, McNichols, if you would, the change of pace guy. I think he's a good player. He looked great too last year. Everybody was talking about Foreman because he was just kind of the Derrick Henry lookalike there, but I think Hilliard's on the team, and we're going to see a lot of snaps.
Yeah, I mean, he's explosive is the big thing. I mean, yes. I mean, Foreman, he was great. He really was, and I wish him the best. But, I mean, Hilliard was exciting. He really was. He was the guy that was going to he was going to run away from you. And he had a little bit of wiggle to him. So he was fun to watch for sure.
The next move we'll talk about is Titans signed tackle Jamarco Jones. He's from Seattle. Apparently, he's going to replace Quessenberry, right? The great Quessenberry. This gentleman has played 36 games. In 36 games, he has only had 4 penalties, given up 3 sacks only, 6 quarterback hits, and 411 passing situations. I was reading that he's more of a kind of a plug and play. He knows just about all the positions. Was really forced into the Seattle lineup because they had holes all over the place last year.
He's a swing guy. He's the new Mankind. He's going to be the guy, the first man up when somebody goes down or gets hurt. I don't think we want him starting, but I do think he's capable of playing anywhere on that line. I think it's a good ad. I mean, it's the cherry on top. He'll be there. I don't think he's the answer, but it's, he didn't hardly cost anything. He's going to be a good backup.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, is he the Dennis Kelly? Is that what we're kind of thinking? He's kind of the guy that's going to patch up the holes whenever they come up, because inevitably linemen are going to get dinged up.
That's an important role, though.
It really is. I mean, think about how important Dennis Kelly was. He was so important when he was here because he could play just about any position on the line.
It's going to be.
Yeah, that's what he is. That's exactly who he is.
Injuries happen all the time. Next move, Titans sign free agent tight end Austin Hooper from the Cleveland Browns. To me, my first reaction as I put it out there on Twitter, it looks like the Titans are signing someone with diminishing returns, declining production.
I won't put any stock in any numbers that are given from with the ball being thrown to him by Baker Mayfield.
Let me also say this. That's a ridiculous argument. Yes, he had less receptions over the last few years than he did in Atlanta. I think he had 98. Last 2 years, he played an incredibly run-heavy offense. They've started 3 tight ends. It wasn't just him like it was in Atlanta. So he should be rested. I mean, they're getting this guy on a 1-year, $6 million deal. I love it. This is actually when I was looking at my favorite tight ends going into this year, when they franchise tag Njoku up there, I wanted this guy, and I think this is a fantastic signing. And you owe him nothing. Let's say he is a bust this year. So what? That's 1 year.
Yeah, exactly. Out. So what? But I think he's coming to another run-centric offense here. It won't be much different. Ryan Tannehill is the better quarterback, but I don't think that we should be expecting 50 catches and 700 yards. I think if we can get maybe 30 and a couple of touchdown red zone presence.
I think if we can get the balls that we threw Chester Rogers that he freaking dropped all the time. If he can catch those, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody other than AJ to be available in Nick Westbrook-Akina.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
I was just going to say, yeah, this is a run-heavy offense, but we have 1 running back, not 2 that we split it through. And then when we do have a pass catcher on the field as a tight end, it's going to be Hooper. It's not going to be one of 3 guys. It's going to be him. You're talking 30 or 40. I'm talking 60, 65, 6, 7 touchdowns from this guy.
Not happening. I bet you.
I mean, I will take that bet. 60 receptions, $100.
We're live right here,
live.
Guys. There's a
whoa! He just backed down from 65 to 60.
No, I said 60 to 65.
Over under 69.5.
Oh, that's rude. How'd that just go from 60 to 60? Wow. You were at 30 and went to 69. So let's split the difference and let's go 45.
Here, I'm going to hold the money.
We'll work on it.
I'll hold the money for him.
Let's go to the next one here. Re-signed kicker Randy Bullock.
Fat Randy. Come on, Randy.
Everybody happy?
Let's roll with Randy. I like Randy.
I'm happy.
He did nothing, man, but did his freaking job. That's all he did.
Local sports talk says you can't win a playoff game if you can't kick more than 50 yards. And they said Randy Bullock can't do it. So another reason why it's a wasted season.
He was 26 of 31 last year. He does struggle from distance. I mean, that's all
they were arguing. You can't win playoff games if you can't kick it from 50.
I think that's a pretty far reach. I mean, it helps for sure.
I don't argue. If the Titans want to go for it on 4th down, why don't you run a better play on 3rd down this next year?
It's weird to me, but I can remember plenty of teams winning the playoffs without kicking 50 plus.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it helps. I mean, sure, if you got a guy that can kick it from 58, I mean, great. That's good for you. But I don't think that it's a numbers game that I want to play, running a kicker out there to kick a 58-yard field goal with 3 seconds left.
I would take the more accurate, less than 50-yard guy than the guy that could make it from 60 but make 70%.
Oh, yeah. This is my favorite move. Because what did it cost on Parker? A 6th-round pick?
Not even a 6th-round pick this year. Next year.
Woods. There are a lot of talk about signing a guy off of ACL. Let me tell you, folks, the ACL is not that big of a deal anymore.
No, it's not.
It's really not. They got this guy on the cheap.
Guys, let me give you a second.
Good move.
So Bobby Trees has been one of my favorite players in the league for years. And I didn't even realize that we even had a chance to get him. Like, I got the alert and I was ecstatic. This guy has been a steal in the fantasy draft for me for years. I mean, I know Cooper Kupp's the name the Rams everybody knows, but you know who led them in receiving the 2 years prior to that? Robert Woods. This guy is legit. He is a really good blocker, which I know people don't care about in NFL's wide receivers, but the Titans do. The Titans care about that. And a 6th-round pick for next year, and you know how much money, let's say the injury thing pops up, the ACL's not, let's say it pops up again this year. You know how much they owe him next year? Zero. They're out again. Nothing. But if he's
it's a risk-free investment here.
But if he's good, man, you sign him. I love this guy, and I'm a little bit biased because I've really been a huge fan of his for years. I'm really excited about it. So my analysis on him is probably not the best because I'm very, very tainted. I love him. I think he's awesome.
Well, look, the non-Titans fan is giving you kudos. I like it. I mean, it's all just money anyway, so who cares at this point? Robert Woods is a good investment. It's a.
I will say though, man, going in before that, the days before it, I was like, man, we need a receiver. Like, what's going on? You know, and then go and do that and completely redeem yourself.
No doubt. Yeah. Anything else that anyone wants to say about the Titans move so far before we move on?
Tighten up.
Nah, I mean, I actually think they might restructure him and go ahead and do like a 2-year deal to save some money on the cap. Who knows? There's still a lot of restructuring going on. It's early on, but I also think we're going to sign but draft a receiver. We can get into that later. But so far, I'm really happy with a couple of the guys that we have signed and a couple of the guys that we've let walk.
Yeah, we did the right thing, cutting some folks. I mean, I guess we could talk about that a little bit. We haven't really talked about it. I mean, Julio gone. He gone.
Sorry, y'all don't want to hear my reaction. I already put it out there on the Twitterverse.
I mean, at some point you just have to look at it and say you didn't get anything for it, and it was a shot in the dark. And sometimes when you piss into the wind, it comes right back at you.
Boy, you can say that to Shad Khan with Urban Meyer.
I know.
Oh, my God, that story is unbelievable.
There's more news coming out as we speak about how inept this guy was. We talked about it on our shows.
People thought we were being funny. No, we were not. We were being serious.
No, I was telling you guys, I was like, Urban Meyer doesn't even know his own damn players' names.
I know, dude. It was such horse shit listening to that guy. I'm the ball coach. I'll kick you if I want to.
I said right here on the week 1 preview when it was the Jags at Texans, Urban Meyer's like, yeah, we got to cover that number 32 guy. He doesn't know anybody.
Number 32 guy.
He didn't even know who Aaron freaking Donald is. Parker, what the hell?
You know, that little guy out there.
How is Balky still there? It doesn't make sense to me. It's the worst hire in the history of the NFL. I don't understand how he is still there. This Urban Meyer thing, he's belittling people. He's making players cry. I mean, it's crazy the stuff that he's doing. And I listened to another reporter today, a podcast listened to earlier, another checked-in guy. He goes, man, I read this report and it's so crazy to me that I reached out he's like some friends of mine that actually know Urban Meyer, not football wise, but know him. And they were like, yeah, it's kind of his thing to not know anything. Like he just wants to he's aloof through life.
Kind of plays dumb. Yeah.
Yep. Just not plays dumb. Just doesn't
is dumb. Yeah, I know the type. He kind of just he's dumb all the time, and everything just kind of works out for him.
The first thing when I read this story, Bradley, that I thought about was how much the Florida Gators owe to Tim Tebow.
Oh wow!
I mean, think about it though.
Seriously,
through all of it, through Aaron Hernandez, Urban Meyer, Tim Tebow was Tim Tebow the entire time. I mean, this guy has a will and stronger than any.
You said the word. He willed Florida to way more than we even gave him credit for at the time. I mean, all the times that I always wondered, I'm sitting over there looking at Urban Meyer with his arms folded on the sidewalk, counting blades of grass on the sideline. I always wonder. I was like, is he even paying attention? And the answer is no. He has no idea. He tried to come to the NFL, run a gimmick offense. He thought he could go to, bars and bang chicks, with no his bar, no less. God, what a piece of shit. I mean, seriously, guys, how could any organization ever even entertain this guy? He's got to be done in football, right? He's done, right?
Well, he's done in NFL football for sure.
Maybe USC will take him after Lincoln Riley runs away from competition again, like he did from Oklahoma whenever he found out that they were going to the SEC. Yeah. Oops.
It's true.
Just saying.
It's true.
All right, here we go. We're going to go down to Duval now.
Duval.
I mean, look, the truth is this is a bad team.
Sure.
This is a team that, unfortunately, because they're bad, they have to overspend. That's what free agency is. I mean, you have to overspend to pay a bunch of players that are sometimes not worth the money. But here's what they have done, folks. We'll start at the top. They have signed guard Brandon Sheriff, Washington Commanders, a 5-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro. Parker, his biggest question is availability.
Yeah, but this is the only guy they've really signed at offensive lineman, right? Like they tagged their left tackle. And other than that, I mean, to me, they're telling everybody that they're pretty happy with how their line is. That's the read I get out of this, and maybe I'm completely wrong on this.
Do you believe that though? I mean, do you really think that they're actually happy with it, or do you think they just couldn't throw enough money at somebody that was worth it?
Oh, they had enough money to throw it at anybody.
Oh, they had all kinds of money.
I mean, do we really think that Trevor Lawrence has the offensive line in front of him to be able to stand up and throw the ball downfield consistently over 17 games? Does anybody really think that?
I thought they should.
I honestly don't know how to answer that.
I don't either. I mean, I don't even know what your offensive line has because of the clusterfuck that they've been through.
I know exactly what they have. If you want to hear,
I thought they should have gone after Armstead. Is a big money guy, but I don't know. It could be fine. It could be absolutely fine. They've got new coaches there, so apparently they've looked at the tape and thought this is the way to go. And I don't have any insight into that one.
I've also been reading and hearing on their local sports talk that could be trying to sign Cam Robinson, left tackle, for a multi-year deal, get him off the tag. They like it. I mean, they're kind of tipping their hand here. It seems. Doesn't mean have to be, but it kind of seems like they're tipping their hand at the number 1 pick in the draft, as Parker said last week. Looking at the defensive guy from Michigan.
Yep, that's just
okay. Okay.
Unless they surprise the world and go.
Dude, isn't that who you called, Parker?
It is, but I wouldn't be. I'm not even joking, y'all. This is gonna like a joke. Like it was. I would not be shocked if they took a wide receiver. Like it
could be Jameson. Is that his name? The one that got hurt.
There's about Williams. There's about 4 of them that it could be. What I really think they should do, because I said this a little bit last week, was how much Detroit loves Hutchinson. Just trade down. You've got so many needs, man. Just get a pick just to move one spot. Who gives a crap who you take?
The thing I want to see them do is trade some of their picks to get better picks. They have 12 already coming into this draft.
Yeah,
they have a lot.
This is one of the worst years to have the first pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a stock draft by any means, but
the Jaguars found themselves in this a couple of years back when they were Kansas City was number 1, and Jags were number 2. Both of them took offensive linemen. That was the year the Jags took Luke Jokel.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was nothing in that draft though, nothing. So here we are again.
Yeah, I know. Well, hey, at least you got draft picks. There's some teams in the AFC South that, gave all theirs up for a terrible quarterback that didn't work out.
Here's another signing. There are a lot from the Jags. Defensive tackle from the New York Jets, Fatu Kasi.
This is great.
Fatu Kasi.
Oh, we're offending
the
all
New York Jets. 4 years.
Right.
He's 6'4", 320 pounds. He's just a run stuffer. He's going to be a first and second down player. Get off the field on the rushing third downs.
Wheel them off.
Fatu Kasi.
No, I mean they did this on purpose. I mean, if you're going to sign a run stuffer, this is the division to do it in, because you've got probably the 2 best running backs in the league.
Yeah. Sticking on the defensive side, the leading tackler in the NFL has been signed by the Jags. So this name, Foye Oluwakan from Atlanta. He's played 4 years, had 192 tackles. He's just a fast guy, sideline to sideline. He's not very big. He's 6'2", 220. So, but he can cover. He can move.
Yeah, well, his numbers, I'm sure they're pretty big because, the Falcons defense probably played a lot of defense.
So did the Jags. And so will the Jags again this year. Yeah. It's even a bigger signing, Parker, because after this move, they released Miles Jack.
Huge. Oh, wow. I could not believe that. couldn't
Miles
believe
Jack has been signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Does that not feel like
what
such
is-
a Pittsburgh Steeler place for that guy to go?
Yeah, what is the resident Jaguar fan here think about that? Miles Jack departing.
The Jaguars are spending a lot of money, so they had to make a little room here. I was surprised that they chose Miles Jack. I thought maybe it might have been maybe Brandon Linder, the center that's owed over $9 million this year. It could have been even Marvin Jones Jr. But Miles Jack, I thought would have been
You would have thought they would
there
have
for a minute.
kept him around, huh?
You can't ever trust anything that the Jaguars are going to do. I've said that a million times, but
They had to keep
You go,
Marvin Jones.
Balky. You go.
They had to keep Marvin Jones Jr. because they need a wide receiver one.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep going. Let's see. Tight end. Tight end was signed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Evan Ingram out of Alabama, 5 years playing with the Giants. Again, I wrote down, Parker, declining production.
Yeah, he's $9 million. He had the second most drops of any tight end last year and didn't play every game. But he is athletic, man. He's one of those guys that you're just trying to, wouldn't you sign Saquon Barkley if he was available? You're just hoping you catch that lightning in a bottle again.
Well, I mean, and this is coming. I'll be the voice of reason here. This is coming from Titans fans that were all about getting Jadeveon Clowney and Julio Jones, trying to catch that same lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
So I can understand it. I mean, but you look at the guy and you're like, what's missing? What am I missing here? Why is this not working out? So I don't know. Maybe he'll work out for you.
I was wanting him. I was scared because he's been injured. He's not left up. He dropped a pass last year. I don't know if you remember that. I think it was in a Sunday or Monday night game that would have easily have won a game. He'd have walked it in. But he's just a freak. I get it. I totally get it. It's a 1-year deal, I think.
It's only a 1-year deal. Yeah. They re-signed Trey Herndon. He was out of Vanderbilt. He's played with the Jags for 3 years. He's kind of like that swing cornerback. He's going to end up being like in the 4-hole because they signed free agent Darius Williams from the champions, or the Rams. 4 years. He has 27 pass breakups, 6 picks, playing opposite of Jalen Ramsey. We all know he got a lot of work.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good too. I mean, the Rams, I was listening to because I'm a sicko, a local Rams podcast today, and that was the whole talk was how are they going to replace him and what are they going to do with him? So I mean, there's definitely a concern out there. So I think it's an upgrade. He was their liability, but it's one thing to say your liability when your other guy's Jalen Ramsey out there.
Oh yeah, I think that this guy will be playing the nickel, so you'll see him a lot on the field. I mean, a lot of base defenses now are playing 5 people in the backfield.
Yeah.
So you've got – then we can talk about the wide receivers. I know you've been waiting at this. So first one is the one that I wrote down, the head scratcher of the group. He played okay in the playoff game, but a 6-year receiver, Zay Jones, 3-year deal. I don't get it. Sorry, I'm the Jags fan. I don't understand that one.
I listened to a Jags podcast today.
What?
Dude, I listen to all. I'm an absolute glutton for punishment. And even like they didn't get this, but you know what? He was a number 1 pick, and people will continue to Jadeveon Clowney. People will continue to get these first round draft picks, not number 1 overall, but first round draft picks, chance after chance after chance, and maybe he just doesn't have to be the guy, but yeah, it's a little bit of a stretch.
And now the big one.
I'm waiting on it.
Jaguars signed wide receiver Christian Kirk from the Arizona Cardinals, 4-year player, coming off his best season with 77 receptions, 982 yards. My note is overpaid? ? And the answer is absolutely yes, he's overpaid.
Okay.
But that's what you have to do in this free agency.
They had to pay the Jax tax.
Ooh.
I mean, it could have been. Here's what bothers me about it, Bradley, is you could have paid less and had freaking Allen Robinson, brought him back home.
Allen Robinson, I don't think wanted to come.
Jax
That's
tax.
just a problem.
I
How about
like it.
this?
And how about the trade, Devontae Adams trade? I don't think Devontae wanted to come there, so they couldn't do that either.
Well, Devontae, to be fair, Devontae always wanted to play for the Raiders and always wanted to play for Carr. Play with Carr, I mean. Not for,
Robert Woods, we had enough draft picks to do that. They don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
A Cooper they could have gotten. It doesn't matter if you're trading for Cooper or Robert Woods. To hell with what they want. You're going to where you're traded. You don't have a no trade clause. You're not Deshaun Watson. You're going to where you're expected to play, and if you're getting paid that amount of money, you're going to go. It's not that I don't like Christian Kirk. I actually like Christian Kirk. I just don't like Christian Kirk as a number 1 receiver. His own team doesn't even like him as a number 3 receiver. His
team now does.
His team now likes him as another receiver. But the reason he's not there is because Moore is going to elevate to that position. It's just too much money, and again, I still in that room right now. Marvin Jones, the alpha, they're going to draft a number 1. Though, to be completely honest,
I honestly think that they're going to draft 2. If they don't surprise the world with the number 1 pick, it is a lock. With the number 1 pick in the second round, they're going wide receiver, and I think they draft at least 1 more. They may bring in 2 more. So they're going to have. Oh, before I forget, they did re-sign to a deal. I don't know what the terms are, but Laquan Treadwell, he was there. He was kind of the fill-in. When the injuries happened, he didn't play half bad, but whatever that means for Jacksonville. But they're going to have all kinds of options to look at in these camps. Whatever Trevor Lawrence is most comfortable with, that's what they should keep.
And whoever can keep him upright.
The thing about Kirk that is good for you guys, other than it's grossly overpaid, next year he's going to make more than Tyreek Hill. The thing that is that they need speed, man. Once DJ Shark went down, like who was out there? Like,
boy, so you know what they're hoping for here. They're hoping that their speed comes from Kirk, and they're returning Travis Etienne. He has not played 1 snap in the NFL.
Oh, boy.
The Swiss Army knife, man, he's the faster. He should be the fastest on that team.
I mean, he should, right?
Coming off a big injury question.
And looking at this, it sounds awful, but, man, that injury might be a blessing in disguise. He didn't get screwed up by Urban Meyer. He is coming in fresh because the one of the things I was listening to down in Duval today, they are legitimately concerned that, like, did Urban screw up Trevor? Like, was it that bad?
Boy, I think we talked about it before coming on here.
Yeah.
If he didn't screw up Tim Tebow in college, I almost think that Trevor Lawrence is probably the equivalent of that right now.
No, I'm going to say this. I think that Trevor Lawrence is greater than Tim Tebow. I think he was he was the adult in the room.
Oh, we said that all year.
I mean, exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm sticking with that because I think what it is Trevor Lawrence. He knew that he had that his head coach was short-lived, and I think he kind of went into survival mode, and he realized I think he's smart enough because I do think that Trevor Lawrence is probably a pretty football savvy guy. I think he probably realized that, look, this offense is going to get me hurt. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to try to win, but I'm not going to hurt myself. I'm not going to try to take too much of this to heart just because I know this guy's out of here.
I think you're right. In fact, I think Urban was probably so bad that he didn't hurt him. Like, he was so disconnected that he just wasn't doing anything. Like, I was listening to something today where someone was talking about how she was texting back and forth with one of the assistant coaches, and all Urban would do would send, like, every day, would send to the coaches like these inspirational quotes, like numerous times a day, every single day. But just like that's what he did. That was kind of his role of the day.
Wow.
Let's see where that got him.
Urban the inspirer, inspiration, whatever.
Urban the inspirer.
Let's go with dipshit. Urban the dipshit. How about that?
I was hoping that we would never have to talk about him again, but
well,
there'll be some fun news coming out.
It'll come out. There's more. I'm telling you, there's more.
Moving on to the Colts. I mean, coming into this show, I had a big X. that they had made no moves. They're kind of sitting back in the background, waiting. They think that they have a super team. They just can't win in Duval. They can't get over the hump of going to Jacksonville. But they think they have it all, Parker. They think they have it all except their quarterback. And by God, it happened today. They traded for Matt Ryan, and they've got a 60-year-old quarterback now. They think they can go to the playoffs, but can they get by Jacksonville? I say no.
Man, talk about a risk. I mean, golly. Matt Ryan, I'm assuming this was his worst year statistically ever that he had.
I'll find that out.
It's bad. It was bad. He had a bad year, and they still wanted him. Of course, I guess maybe the other option was, well, I guess they could have taken Marcus, but they didn't take him. They didn't. I don't know if they even entertained that, did they?
I mean, I think that was like a rumor at some point. I'm sure that they kicked around. Y'all, Matt Ryan hasn't thrown for 30 touchdowns since 2018.
Jeez.
And he won't this year.
There's your player in decline.
If you want to go over under 30, I bet another 100 because that ain't happening. They're going to run the hell out of the ball with Jonathan Taylor. And everybody knows it. They're not going to throw it. They got who do they can throw it to? T.Y. Hilton, the other 60-year-old.
They have Pittman. Like
the Indianapolis retirement home.
We
That's
know,
what they're
we
going to
know
call
the
it.
Colts are in trouble. We all know the
It's
Colts
not,
are in
it's
trouble.
the Lucas Oil retirement home is what that stadium is.
Jack freaking Doyle. Really? The 40-year-old?
No, I mean it is incredible. They haven't. That's the only move they've made.
Nothing else.
And they don't have any draft picks, right?
No.
They gave them all up for
away
Wentz, right? Yeah, that panned out. That panned out great.
they're
Parker.
third.
Come
They
on.
are the betting favorites to win this division, which that's an overreaction because that's
Not taking
absolutely insane.
Yeah,
Insane.
where'd that come from?
This is a Titans division if I've ever seen it.
We run the South. Titans.
I would bet Jacksonville over Indy. I'm not even joking, just because of because it's like 120, pretty much 120 on both Indy and Titans, and like 650. Like I could see Trevor coming out and getting hot. They make a bunch of new signings. Like I just like I'd rather risk it for that than I would Indy. I don't see any chance that Indy wins it for you to bet like a $10 to win 12, but I see a path at Jacksonville for 10 to win 60. You know, like I just don't see Indy doing it.
Sorry, Colts. I got nothing else for Matt Ryan, but I mean, I guess we can kind of spin off of it if you want to. So with the Matt Ryan going to the Colts, the Falcons have responded.
Okay.
They have signed former Tennessee Titans first-round pick, recently played for Vegas Raiders.
Yep.
Marcus Mariota to a 2-year deal. He's got to be the starter. What does Kyle Pitts think about this, Parker? Is he okay?
Well, I mean, probably because that's all Marcus knows how to throw to are tight ends.
He should be fine with it.
And I don't understand. I hear people are like, well, Marcus, they signed him because he used to the offensive coordinators now, the coach in Atlanta. Well, that guy benched him after 6 games.
Yep.
I
How'd
don't
that
understand.
go for you?
I don't get it. I don't get it. They just listen, they're rebuilding. Let's get some guy in here that's going to be competent. Let's suck it up because next year is a massive quarterback draft, and let's get our guy next year. That's what they're doing.
Don't forget, if Marcus
Kicking
goes
the can.
down, well, I shouldn't say if, but when Marcus goes down,
He's got a history of being dinged up.
You
Florida
think?
Gator / Arkansas Razorback Felipe Franks will be coming in for the Falcons.
Hey, he's great at throwing Hail Marys. That's all I know.
Touchdown Gators.
Tennessee fan talking there.
You know what?
Texans.
I'd almost rather have Felipe Franks. At least
Yeah.
I don't know what he is. Who knows? Maybe he's awesome. I know what
Yeah.
Marcus is. Marcus is
But-
hurt.
Great.
Okay, so from the Colts, who think they got it all, to the Texans, they've worked on the offensive line a little bit. AJ Cann coming in to play guard from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Signed centerman Scott Quessenberry from the Chargers. I don't know much about any of those moves, but their biggest news, Parker, is trade Deshaun Watson going to Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting for it. They did. I actually think Cleveland might have won in this with what they got out of this, but they got him out of there finally. he was never going to play another down there. Now they get to see what Davis Mills is all about and see if this is their guy because he actually didn't look that bad. I made so much fun of this guy and so much fun of this draft pick. He didn't look that bad.
Yeah, he put up some decent numbers. I think we might be in for a little bit of surprise with a full year of Davis Mills. I'm not saying they're going to go win the South, but I think that he might be better than old dipshit up there at the Patriots.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, I think he might be. It's hard to say, but we're going to see.
Look, as the Jags fan, he played better than Trevor Lawrence. Maybe some of that is what Trevor had going on with the coach and personnel around him, but he quite simply put, it looked better.
It did.
Davis Mills looked better.
He looked like a pro quarterback.
In the long run, I don't think so. I think this Texans, I think Lovie Smith, if he doesn't admit to it, he's a placeholder coach, dead man walking. I don't see any way that he can succeed with any of this.
No, I think he's set up to kind of, I don't want to say he's set up to fail, but he's kind of, I think he's being set up as the fall guy for sure.
Bill O'Brien has burned this team to the ground. I mean, they were so good in winning the division and set up, and he just absolutely scorched earth and got fired. It's still looking back to those moves he's made. It just set them back literally like a decade.
Yeah. And New Orleans making moves in the last few hours here. They a 2-year deal for Jameis Winston. They really didn't have anything left, right? Bring back crab legs.
I mean, what else were you going to do? He actually wasn't bad, but before he went down, he played in 7 games with 5-2 as a starter. Now, granted, that was with Sean Payton. So where does that go? With under the new coach, but he was the best option out there. Who else were you going to get? Baker?
I was about to say, Blake, what name haven't we mentioned?
Oh, your boy Baker, grab my crotch, Mayfield.
What has he got left, man? Is this only is it Seattle? I don't even know. Is there even a spot for him to land?
Man,
people keep saying the Titans need a quarterback, but I'm like, slow down with that talk. Ryan Tannehill, Baker Mayfield, I don't think it's close. I think it's Tannehill.
No, Tannehill is Peyton Manning compared to Mayfield.
Yes. Totally. I mean, it's just ridiculous to even make the suggestion that Baker Mayfield needs to come to Tennessee to take Tannehill's place. I mean, good grief. It's a total insult. I think Baker Mayfield kind of showed his ass this last year. Things went bad, kind of south for him, and we kind of saw who Baker Mayfield really is. He kind of has a history of this all, going back to college. He throws little temper tantrums whenever things don't go his way or he feels slighted in some way. So this is just more of the same from Baker Mayfield as far as I'm concerned. It's just who he is.
The Texans could have, I assume, when they sent Deshaun to Cleveland, had probably got Baker back in that trade, right?
Didn't want him.
Instead, they wanted Davis Mills.
What about Miami?
No,
everybody hated Tua there for a while. I'm just thinking. I don't know if anybody. I'm making places up. At this
Seattle is literally. I'm going through my head. The only ones that make even like a fathom of sense to me are Seattle, Carolina, the Giants.
Carolina's already said no.
Carolina said no. There you go. Mark that off the list.
What about
just naming random teams at this point?
I'm just trying to think. Like,
what about this thought? What about maybe just for me and TV and drama purposes? What happens if the Steelers say, I don't really want Trubisky. We'll go with Baker instead. Keeping him in the AFC North. Which one's better?
Oh, Trubisky.
That's more even than a Tannehill Baker question. Baker might just be better than Trubisky. Keep him in the AFC North. Let's watch that on Thursday.
That would be a fun storyline.
Yeah.
You know what? Send him to the Michigan Panthers to play with Fisher. That might be a good spot for him.
Send him to the Jets. Let him Jets him up.
Wait, what about Detroit? Is he better than Goff?
Oh man, you're going to send him there to die. That's where good players go to die.
When we do our draft show, I've got a really good theory about this Detroit thing to remind you guys. But Well, is he better? I don't know, but they're about the same. So what's the point?
Duval?
What about this? What is he
Duval,
good?
absolutely.
Duval?
No,
How about
no.
this?
What?
How about he is
Did I
a
hear that?
CJ Beathard's better than him.
how about he's a good how about he's a backup for a good quarterback? Like
Tampa?
you could send him to Dallas, send him to Tampa.
I mean, Tampa's got Blaine Gabbert, my God.
It's true.
He said that with a straight face.
And as we've learned, he is the fastest man alive.
He wasn't the fastest.
No, that was Bortles.
to
That
go
was
down for a
Bortles. That was
sack.
Bortles.
Jeez. Oh, yeah, that was Bortles running.
Yeah, not many options there for Baker, unfortunately, but I don't know.
Speaking of Bortles, on the cup.
Whatever.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to look up if they just cut him, how much it would cost them.
If they cut
Baker.
Baker?
Like, what if they're just like, hey, we don't want you here. You're a cancer. We're going to cut you. What would it cost them? Let's see.
Boy, Blake, just for TV purposes, I could just envision sitting back on a Thursday night, turning on Amazon Prime, the Pittsburgh Steelers with Miles Jack, Baker Mayfield, against the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, bringing back Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis.
He's probably coming back. I mean, I think the thing was it was going to be Landry and Fournette in Atlanta if Watson signed. Is what I read.
And by the way, it would cost Cleveland about $19 million.
Ooh.
Well, you know what Atlanta's paying to trade Matt Ryan. Their dead cap hit is the biggest dead cap in the history of football. It's like $40 million.
Oh God. Jesus.
Good idea, Arthur Smith.
Oh, by the way, so speaking of Deshaun, did you guys see this? So Cleveland was out on Thursday, right? And then miraculously they were back in on Friday. We've talked about this before with Aaron Rodgers. I'm trying to think with some other players that we've seen negotiating Deshaun Watson. It's all about the Benjamins, as it should be. I completely agree. But they are willing to give a guy, and we talked about this on our last show, would he play again this year? This is how talent is over talent. You overlook everything for talent. It doesn't matter. Yes, he's not going to be criminally charged, but he's still facing a lot of trouble. They're going to give a guy that didn't play last year, where his new contract should have kicking in this year, like a brand new contract. He's going to get another new contract, $220 million guaranteed, which is $70 million more than Aaron Rodgers. And they worked it out because if you get suspended next year, it takes away your base salary and not your bonuses and stuff. So if Deshaun gets suspended next year for all this, the entire year, he is out $1 million. That is why he's in Cleveland.
I think it's a good segue. It's all about the Benjamins. And Blake, I'm going to turn it over to you because we're going to talk about college football. NIL. Tell us what's been going on in Knoxville,
Guys,
with the Benjamins.
some very, very exciting news today. We found out that five-star class of 2023 five-star quarterback Nico Iamaleava, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, has committed verbally to the University of Tennessee. He put out on Twitter that he's in, he's 100% in. He wants to start helping to recruit for his class, that he fell in love with Tennessee and the people there and the coaching staff. He's done all kinds of promo stuff. But that's not the best part. I've wanted to talk about this NIL stuff for a long time. That's before I found out about what I'm about to tell you. This NIL stuff, I think it's completely changed college sports. I don't think it's for the better. Does anybody on this panel know, Parker, you might know, what the NIL deal was for Nico reportedly?
I will say it is close to double digits, $1 million.
It is reportedly $8 million. $8 million.
I hope that's not given all up front.
It can't be. I mean, I'm sure it's heavily incentivized, and I just don't know. Look, I don't know a ton about how these things are going to work. I'm assuming that there's some sort of thing in there that you actually have to play a certain amount of time and a certain amount of success has to be reached in order for you to get more of that money. But still, I believe the first year he gets like $1 million almost immediately, I think, and $350,000 the first year, I do believe is what it is. This NIL stuff is crazy. Nico, by the way, don't want to overshadow that. He's the number 3 overall prospect or recruit or whatever for the 2023 class, behind Arch Manning and that Malachi guy. Sorry, I don't know your last name, Malachi, but highly sought after recruit. Supposedly he is a program, quote unquote, program changing quarterback. This will be the second 5-star quarterback, I do believe, that we will have in our cupboard here over the next couple of years, because Taven Jackson's coming this year. So we're going to see. We're going to see how this works out. But anyways, the NIL stuff. What do we think about this? I mean, is this really what we want college sports to be? I mean, have we just relegated all small schools and all small conferences to never being able to get a good recruit? Or is it quite the opposite? Now are they in the game?
I mean, I'll play devil's advocate on this one. Could the small schools get anybody good anyway? I like the NIL, but not the way it's set up. I think people should be able to make money off their name, image, and likeness. Like I could go get a job at McDonald's, but I can't make money off a jersey sale. Like, why can't I do this? So there's something desperately wrong with it, because, hey, kudos to Tennessee for getting on board with this, because Texas A&M has got like the greatest recruiting class in the history of football, and I don't think that's by accident.
Yeah, I think they were. What was it? I can't remember the exact number. Something crazy like they were spending $20 million or something on this year's recruiting class. Basically, right now, the NIL is the Wild Wild West, is what it seems like. I don't. Have you heard anything from Florida about how they're doing with it, or are they?
Look, I'll admit, I'm a huge NFL guy. I am the Florida Gator fan, but I don't follow the Florida Gators like I do with the Jags or just the NFL in general. But new coach, new staff down there, they are making a lot of moves. Look, their recruiting class was not that great, but they're coming on stronger now, I should say, as things are getting pieced together. I believe Emory Jones just left.
I didn't know that.
So that's going to put Richardson square right in the bullseye, right, Parker?
What's that? I'm sorry, I cut out about it for 1 second.
The Florida Gators have made a lot of moves since their recruiting class to kind of bring their overall standing up a little bit. Emory Jones is out. He's going to be leaving the Florida Gators, which puts Anthony Richardson square in the bullseye. He's going to be the quarterback next year.
Yeah, he probably would have been either way, right? I mean, should have been maybe. I was reading an article the other day about, although Florida is one of the first teams to do this first states to propose this NIL thing, it actually put them further behind competing with other states. And not to gloss over NIL, but man, this Nico thing, I don't think people, Blake, and you do, I don't think people understand how big this is.
Yeah, I mean, they're, like I said, program-changing quarterback is what they're describing him as.
If it wasn't for this year, if it's over the last 5 or 6 years, this guy is the number 1 recruit, and it's not even a question. In fact, there's a lot of different, depending on what site you look, there's a lot of them have it third, some of them at second, some of them have it first. It's kind of a flip-flop situation. Yeah. You got Arch Manning, which is obviously highly recruited, but a lot of people say that, hey, we know Arch Manning's going to be this, the USC kid's going to be this, and Nico's going to either be this or this. You know, he has a higher ceiling. He's been playing football for 2 years, y'all. He's one of the highest rated volleyball players in the world wants to go play for the U.S. men's national team for the Olympics. And he just started picking up football and playing it. And he's just now started really learning how to do it. And he came out early, like Blake was saying, it almost reminds me of a situation of, oh my God, Tennessee's big time running back that came in a couple years ago and then ended up quitting on us and going to Oklahoma. Oh my God.
What you call it?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, yeah.
Remember when he recruited and it was a big time name and all the dominoes just fell, right?
Mm-hmm.
it's a program changing move because not just because he's so good, but because these receivers that you didn't think you had a chance to get, now they're like, man, this Heupel guy, it changes everything.
Yeah, he's bringing in quarterbacks that can get me the ball. That's what those receivers are thinking. And I'm sitting here looking. I'll try to share my screen here and try not to F this up too much. Chrome tab. Biggest NIL deals in college. It's not just football, folks, but let's talk about it here a little bit. So let's see. Texas offensive lineman, $800,000. Miami, $540,000. Bryce Young, one of the guys that we think, is kind of the premier quarterback at the moment, right? He's kind of the quarterback of the moment. $800,000 or more, it says. He signed with Cash App. USC didn't disclose. There you go. Gymnastics. Olivia Dunn, $1 million. $1 million for gymnastics. Quinn Ewers, $1.4 million. Now, this is the one right here that everybody is speculating is Nico. Unnamed college football recruit from the class of 2023. $8 million. And they also, somewhere else, it was reported that this was a kid coming out of California, which is where Nico is coming from. So I think they're pretty much saying that this is Nico.
350. There it is. That's what I was hoping, that it wasn't all up front. My God.
Yeah.
It's just,
with escalating payments up to $2 million a year is what it says. So it is quite incredible, this NIL stuff. It's changed football. I don't know if it's for the better or not, but it's definitely changing things. It's not just changing football. It's changing all of college athletics. A lot of big deals out there.
How about this for an argument? You were asking if it's how it's changing it for the good or the better. Does it make it okay? So the small schools weren't getting the big players anyway. But Nico, without getting, let's just theoretically say it's a Nico $8 million deal, right? Would Nico be coming to Tennessee and not Alabama without this? Does it level out the top 20 programs? Maybe I don't know. And again, I think this is. I like the NIL. I think it, but I do think it's done improper. There's got to be a better way to regulate it.
Yeah, it's the Wild Wild West for sure right now.
I like his point though. It's like the rich can't just keep stockpiling.
Yeah,
let me go play for South Carolina because I can get $4 million there.
Yeah,
spread it out.
Saban is openly against NIL. Like, obviously, like what?
Of course he is.
Of course you are. Like,
it messes up his recruiting.
Yeah.
Texas, Jimbo's not. Jimbo's their teams. This draft class has spent apparently $30 million.
Jeez, 30 million. That was the number. 30 million. Unbelievable stuff. A lot of exciting stuff coming out of college these days because of it. But I think we're also going to talk a little bit about some more college sports here. Hey, it's March. March
Madness with these brackets, people tearing them up left and right, and I'm just talking about after Thursday.
I know. Does anybody on this panel have a bracket that's still active at the moment?
I mean, it can be active.
Is your team that was going to win in it?
Well, so I'll tell you about my team real quick, and then I'll let y'all take it over. So my team, it's kind of a wish and a prayer, a Hail Mary, if you will. After 4 games in the college basketball season, Parker, DraftKings offered me a little $5 free bet. And at that time, after 4 or 5 games, whatever it was, I put a $5 free bet on Iowa State. Okay. At that time, they were 4-1. I'm like, if they can just make the tournament, because they were one of the longest shots. I was trying to make this free bet go as far as it could go. And if they somehow win this tournament, Parker, it's going to yield a $600 profit. I'll get $605 back. I'm going for Iowa State.
You said it. This is the year that if you bet on one of these underdogs, good grief. We got a 15 seed going to the Sweet 16. We got some 8s, some 11s, 10s. Golly, it is a Cinderella story waiting to happen. I want to hear about Parker's bracket. You got some brackets, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a few, but my main one that I will say, I lost 2 of my Final Four teams in the first day. My 2 people
You're
in
not
the
the only one.
my 2 champions my 2 people playing in the championship game are still alive. I do believe I still like my champion. I do believe the person that's playing that I have playing against him will probably lose on this game, and that is Arizona. I think they'll probably lose to Houston. And guys, I have the text message to prove it. Bradley, I sent it to your brother. I actually took a parlay and it missed, but on day 1, I took New Mexico State, St. Peter's, and then freaking Vermont to beat Arkansas. All's a parlay. I don't even want to tell you what it paid out. It was stupid. In Vermont, and then I should have like gone half the money on Arkansas. Vermont at the end. I was very, very sad about it, but it's not doing great. Iowa, go figure. I'm all in Iowa. I've got Iowa right here. All in Iowa on basketball. Of course, they wet the bed on me.
Richmond.
So. But it's not doing good. No. The long and short of it's not doing good. But you know what? If you're in the Southeast, honestly, you're probably not doing good because you probably picked Tennessee. You probably picked some of the SEC teams. And guess how many are left in it? There's one. There's one SEC team.
Freaking Arkansas.
Come on, call the pig.
Man, I'm not doing that.
Oh,
fuck that.
Hey, but for real though, the state of Tennessee had a bad night. I mean,
they did.
Between the Vols, Memphis, pretty good showing there for Memphis. But man, local sports talk is killing the basketball coach.
Man, the Nega Vols are in full swing right now with Coach Barnes. Saying this is his classic, his little 1-2 step that he does in the postseason, in the bracket, or in the tournament rather. I think they need to step off. I mean, I think Coach Barnes is a great coach. I think he, as far as I can tell, he probably has a job at Tennessee as long as he wants one. We've got a great men's basketball program right now, and it is 100% due to the leadership that he's provided for that program.
Yes, they lost one of their best players earlier this year. I know Barnes he's made it to one Final Four, and that was with Kevin Durant. But you know what? All these coaches haven't made it till they've made it. Like, I could name a ton of these players. Virginia. I mean, you go down Butler. All these coaches have been knocked out quickly. Barnes didn't miss wide open threes all game long. Well, what are you going to say to that? Like, yes, they should have won the game. Excuse me, but
I mean, he can't shoot the threes. I mean, now this does bring up a theory of mine. If you have a team you need strong guard play for sure. But if you live and die by the 3-pointer, eventually you're going to go cold at some point. And that's really what happened. Newberry and I've talked tons of times, having a big man down low in the college basketball game, you're printing money right there. You have a money-making machine. So that's what happened, man. They just ran out of gas, went cold at the wrong time. But so, guys, which one of the teams that are left is going to go the farthest? That's my question for you guys. So let's see here. We have Iowa State and Miami. That's a 10 and 11 seed.
Come on, Iowa State. 600.
We got Michigan, an 11 seed, playing Villanova.
I honestly think Michigan going to win that game.
I do too. After watching North Carolina, the 8 seed versus UCLA. Don't sleep on North Carolina this year. I saw them play, man. They're playing fast and furious. And here we go.
No, it's
Cinderella right here. St. Peter's and Purdue.
No.
Let's go Peacocks.
No.
The Peacocks. Come on. You know what? Fuck those Boilermakers. They beat my Vols. Fuck them. Come on, Peacocks. Let's go.
If we're talking about which one of the highest seeds going to make it the furthest, I'm going to go Miami. But if we're talking about who's going to win it, it's no fun. It's a chalk, but I believe it's Gonzaga.
Yeah, it's the way it's always set up, right?
Although I'll tell you who's got the easiest run to make it, and that is freaking Kansas. Look at who they've had to beat and who they have to get through. It has lined up so perfectly. If they don't make it to the Final Four, Self should be fired for it.
They going down to Iowa State.
Hey, I hope so. I
don't know. Iowa State might have a little something for them.
Man, I keep up with more Iowa crap with football and basketball, and I always pick the wrong one. I just can never get it right.
Yeah, just pick whatever Parker doesn't pick. That's what you do.
That's it.
That's all I got.
A marathon show.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you
we had
all for
lots.
taking the time to hit play,
Yep.
watch some segments. We'll try to
Yep.
break it up for you on Twitter so you can go to your favorite parts of our podcast.
Yep, absolutely. And sorry, I think I actually started a little late. I think I hit the button a little late. So, but I think the only thing I cut off was the intro, but it's okay. You guys forgive me, right? But yeah, thanks for watching us tonight, guys. Appreciate you joining us live for all you that were watching. And be sure to check us out on Twitter at DDS Sports Talk, as well as on Instagram, DDS Sports Talk. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube and follow us there on Twitter. Leave us a comment. Tell us how stupid we are. Tell us how shiny Parker's head is. Tell me how white my skin looks with the lighting. It's fine. Whatever. But anyways, guys, final thoughts before we get out of here.
Bet of the week: Gonzaga to beat Arkansas by double digits.
Wow.
My final thoughts are: I like Robert Woods.
Bobby Trees.
We'll see what's cooking down at Duval. I'm gonna just sit back and relax.
All I gotta say is Peacocks to the Final Four. Peacocks to the Final Four. You heard it here first on DDS Sports Talk Live. As usual, two-tone blue all the way. You guys be well.